Good evening, I'm Prarambha Dahal. Let's begin with the main stories. Ruling coalition in no mood to prepare a common minimum program. Mode of government operation lacks clarity. Analysts suggest prioritizing stability, good governance and creating jobs. Family members of those missing in Trili for the past 7 days plunging into further grief. Problems surface in management of bodies with problems in their identification. Anti-quota protest continues in Dhaka, Bangladesh. 6 people die in clashes with police today. Hundreds more injured. Death toll reaches at least 12 this week. And shuttler Prince Dahal, busy in final preparations for the Paris Olympics, aims to make a memorable debut at the mega sporting festival, shares grievances of inadequate resources for training. With search operations to find the 2 buses and passengers missing in the Trili River since last week still underway, bodies are being found way far from the site of the incident at several places in the Narayani River. Family members and relatives of those missing have been reaching the district police office and the morgue of Bharatpur Hospital to see if the found bodies are those of their relatives. After hearing about bodies being found, they rush to see if they can identify them. However, after knowing that the bodies are not of their relatives, they plunge into further grief. As days pass by, management of bodies and their identification become more complicated. To ease the process of identification of bodies, police has created a group of the families of those missing in the messaging service application WhatsApp. Police has said that identification could be eased as it sends information about the bodies discovered in the group so that the family members can identify the bodies from their home. At least 125 people have died because of monsoon-induced disasters so far this year. Since 10th of June, monsoon-induced disasters including floods, landslides and inundation have killed 22 in Koshi, 38 in Gandaki, 23 in Lumbini, 20 in Bagmati, 7 in Karnali, 8 in Sudur Paschim and 5 in Madhya province. At least 143 more have been injured. Meanwhile, those missing after 2 buses were swept by a landslide in Simaltal of Chitwan have not been included in the list of deceased. 222 houses, 43 bridges, 1 school and 2 government offices have suffered damages, while 3,721 families have been displaced by the disasters. Following the formation of the government by 2 largest parties of the parliament, public is hoping for political stability and development works gaining momentum. Having formulated a strong government, the 2 parties must have made public a common minimum program with a clear idea for operation of the government and its priorities to address the public expectations. However, the 2 parties have not held any talks regarding the operation of the government and its priorities since its formation. Parties in the government themselves do not seem aware about when such common programs would be introduced. Despite being the major player of CPN Maoist Senator Chairperson Pushpakamal Dahal-led government, CPN-UML Chairperson and current Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli had expressed critical support on the policies and programs and the budget introduced by the previous government. As Oli is now leading the new government, amendments in the policies and programs and the budget are almost certain. The common minimum program of the powerful government formed by Nepali Congress and CPN-UML is of interest for all sectors. Despite all decisions and steps of the government being minutely observed, the 2 largest parties of the parliament do not seem to have acknowledged the responsibility of being accountable to the public. They reached an agreement to form the government on 1st of July and then form the government on the 15th of July. But discussions have not been held regarding the government's common minimum program. The parties should have made public the common minimum program while forming the government. Based on the situation in which the current government was formed, public will not be satisfied by mere assurances. Analysts have suggested the government to prioritize tasks by focusing on political stability. Ensuring good governance, the government must prioritize quick and transparent service delivery, creation of employment opportunities, putting an end to having to seek jobs abroad, and addressing problems related to the health and education sectors. Despite the 7-point agreement between Congress and UML not being made public, the leaders will aim to amend the constitution as they have spoken about, for which they will require the support of parties outside the government, which is a major challenge. Reviving the economy is another daunting task. Progress of national pride projects is not satisfactory. Without curbing corruption, good governance cannot be ensured. Another major task of the government is to ensure fair investigation into several scandals. Important laws have yet to be formulated for which the government has to provide as much business as possible to the parliament. There is a long list of problems of the country that require to be addressed at the earliest. This is also the appropriate time for the government to do so and therefore can have no excuse. If such a powerful government formed since the establishment of federal democratic republicanism fails, it will shadow all political achievements made so far. Therefore, it is imperative for the government to introduce its common minimum program at the earliest to generate hope among the public and to lead the country in the path of development and prosperity. Now, alleging Nepali Congress and CPN Center of proceeding on the remaining works of the peace process by leaving them out, CPN-UML had been expressing grievances in the past. But CPN-UML is now in the government leadership and shoulders the responsibility of transitional justice, which has remained ignored for the past 17 years. The topic has grown complicated as the parties have ignored the issue and prioritized their political interests, and has also become a factor which creates complications for the government and political parties at national and international forums. Amendment bill related to transitional justice has remained stranded at the Law Committee. The parties had claimed of nearing final conclusion on the issue earlier this year, but the process was halted as the government changed immediately. Topics related to the peace process have suffered massively because of political turmoil. Instead of being victims-focused, the issue has become party-focused. When CPN Center Chair Pushpakumar Dahal was leading the government, he had formed a task force of leaders of three parties after holding talks with current Prime Minister, CPN-UML Chair KP Sharma Oli and Nepali Congress President Sher Bahadur Dewa. One round of meeting had taken place, but the government has since changed yet again. Dispute persists on topics related to the nature of incidents of serious violation of human rights and actions to be taken in case of absence of consensus among victims. CPN-UML is trying to include the issue of the use of children in the militia as well, which has now grown contentious. As political parties have been changing their stances when in and out of power, their intentions on addressing or further complicating the issue are difficult to be understood. As UML is leading the government, the party has hinted towards generating consensus on disputed issues and taking the amendment to the parliament. Nepali Congress and Maoist Center appear to be on the same page regarding the bill, but are at sharp contrasts on issues raised by UML. Congress is still in favor of concluding transitional justice on the basis of agreement. Despite the government being led by UML, the Ministry of Law is being led by Nepali Congress. The major responsibility of generating consensus on the issues of transitional justice is shouldered by the Ministry of Law, which has said that the bill would be concluded by holding required discussions with senior leaders of three major parties. As the laws have yet to be amended, Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the Commission of Investigation on Enforced Disappeared Persons have remained without officials for the past 2 years. In spite of formation of a committee chaired by former Chief Justice Om Prakash Mishra for the appointment of officials, works have not moved forward as the Human Rights Commission has not recommended members. While politicizing this issue inside the country, the governments have been compelled to stay quiet at the international forums. Now, saying the Belt and Road Initiative's BRI project put forward by China was in the interest and favor of Nepal, analysts have stressed on the need for making the best use of the program. At a program organized by the Nepal Communist Party led by Netra Bikram Chand, participants said that the BRI project was based on development strategies and its implementation would serve Nepali interests. They said that the BRI stressed on connectivity, development partnership and friendly cooperation. Members of several communist parties said that the BRI did not include any military component and terms and therefore would serve Nepali interests. At the same program, CPN Maoist Center General Secretary Dev Gurung claimed that efforts to implement the BRI project led to the change in the political equation. After initiated by China in 2013, Nepal signed the BRI in 2017 but is yet to be implemented. It is now time for our segment Public Polls, where you text us with your opinion. And before we ask today's question, let us take a look at the result from yesterday's poll. Yesterday we asked, why have problems of the freed Kamayas not been addressed even after 24 years of them being declared freed? 79% were for A, government indifference, 6% were for B, procedural errors, and 15% were for C, lack of pressure. And here is our today's question. Why do the three tiers of the government compete for the jurisdiction of roads, but the roads remain in poor condition? Your options are A. No clarity on jurisdiction, B. Contract interests, and C. Pretext not to work. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. In our public voice segment, today we have asked in several provinces, what should the government do to raise employment opportunities at the local levels? Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
कृषि फर्महरु ल्याउनु पर्छ
कुनै ठाउँमा अब त्यस्तो कल कारखानाहरू खोल्न पाए प्राविधिक शिक्षालाई जोड दिई सिपमूलक तालिम सञ्चालन गरिदिनु पर्यो
डेरी जस्ता किनकि मतलब केही कृषि फार्म किनकि खोलिदिएपछि त हाम्रो पनि किनकि रोजगारी हुनु होला केही
हामीलाई गाउँपालिकाले एउटा सिपमूलक उद्योग धन्दाहरू खोलिदिनु पर्यो चलाइदिनु पर्यो भन्नु
के कारखाना खोलेपछि मिल्छ कि केही न केही गरेको मिल्छ कि
साना घरेलु किसान उद्योगहरू उद्यमीहरू छन् तिनीहरूलाई चाहिँ प्रोत्साहन गरेर उनीहरूलाई चाहिँ अगाडि बढ्ने प्रेरणा गर्नुपर्छ
सरकारले घरेलु उद्योगहरूलाई सञ्चालन गर्ने खालका कार्यक्रमहरू ल्याउँदा राम्रो हुन्थ्यो
बिरगंजको चिनी मिल खोलाउनु पर्छ फ्याक्ट्रीहरू सबै खोलाउनु पर्छ
तालिमकर्ताहरूले त्यसलाई चाहिँ रोजगारीमा परिणत गरिरहेछ कि छैन त्यो पनि त हेर्नु पर्यो
सिपहरू स्कुल कलेजमा सिकाइदिनु पर्यो
सरकारले के गर्नु पर्यो कि वन कल कारखानाहरूलाई सञ्चालनमा ल्याउनु पर्यो
ठुला उद्योगहरू सञ्चालन पनि गर्नुपर्छ जसले गर्दा चाहिँ यसले दिगोपना पनि ल्याउँछ
टेक्निकल कामहरू जस्तै मोबाइल ट्रेडिङ एसी फ्रिजको ट्रेडिङ हैन अनि प्लम्बरको ट्रेडिङ दिने
रोजगार सृजना गर्नको लागि सरकार पक्ष र निजी क्षेत्र दुवै लाग्नुपर्छ
It is now time for a short break, but for more news, do stay with us. We will now share with you a story of struggle, the story of a person who has been making ends meet by selling roasted corn. Having spent a decade selling roasted corns, she now thinks this profession is a future.
Parvati South, originally from Acham district in the Sudar Paschim province, has been making a living by selling roasted corns near the banks of Bagmati river in Mahadevstan for the past 10 years. Rain or sun, Parvati is in her spot every day to sell roasted corns. The smoke from the fire often hurts her eyes. Rains have left her running for shelter many times and scorching heat has burned her skin. However, the hours between 2 to 8 p.m. is set for her corn business. Parvati says she makes a profit of 10 rupees per corn. And that is how she runs her household, supports her children's education and sustain festive celebrations if and when needed.
अहिलेसम्म मैले यही काम निरन्तर गरिरहेको छु मेरो बच्चा बच्ची पनि पढिरहेको छु खाइरहेको छु हाँसिरहेको छु खुसी छु त्यही हो हजुर
Apart from her corn roasting skill, Parvati is also a beautiful singer, entertaining her customers every now and then. Parvati says she is happy to make a living selling roasted corns, but says the metropolis gives her trouble every now and then. In her previous experience, the metropolis officials have thrown away her corns and even poured water over the fire, among others.
फुटपाथमा अब यताउति राख्न नदिने यताउति गर्नाले चाहिँ अलिकति हामीलाई समस्या छ कहिलेकाहीँ आएर यताउति भाँडाकुँडा फाल्दिने पानी हाल्दिने गर्छन् हैन तैपनि यस्तो हामीले अब यही ठाउँको पनि मैले थोरै तिना मलाई पनि यतिको त फोहोर नगरेर कर लाए भने 20 रुपैयाँ 50 रुपैयाँ मैले कति आम्दानी गर्छु त्यही अनुसारले कर लगाइदिए पनि हुन्थ्यो ब्यालेन्स हाल्दै मलाई त्यही लागिरहेछ.
Although Parvati puts up her corn stall at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, her day starts as early as 4 a.m. in the morning. She reaches the capital's Tinkune to collect maize with the help of her husband, Meen Bahadur, who also runs a shop of his own, but his earning has been less than Parvati's. The two make up for 50 to 60,000 rupees per month for their expenses. The years of struggle but unyielding persistence in life makes Parvati an inspiration to many around her.
After that inspiring story, it is now time for the international news. Now, thousands of students armed with sticks and rocks clashed with armed police in Dhaka as the Bangladesh authorities cut some mobile internet services to quell the anti-quota protests that have killed at least 12 people this week alone. The nationwide protests are the biggest since Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was re-elected to a fourth term in office and are fueled by high unemployment among the youth, with nearly a fifth of the 170 million population out of work or education. 6 people died in clashes with police in Dhaka today alone, including a bus driver whose body was brought to a hospital with a bullet wound to his chest and a student. Hundreds more were injured, they've said. Law Minister Anisul Haq said the government was willing to talk to the protesters who want the state to stop setting aside 30% of government jobs for the families of those who fought in the 1971 War of Independence from Pakistan. Hasina, the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who led Bangladesh to independence, has so far rejected the protesters' demands. Earlier, police fired tear gas to scatter protesters near a Dhaka University campus, and authorities cut some mobile internet services in a bid to limit the demonstrations. Police also fired tear gas to disperse stone-throwing students who blocked a highway in the southern port city of Chittagong. Authorities had shut all public and private universities indefinitely from yesterday and sent riot police and the border guard paramilitary force to university campuses to keep order. Meanwhile, we'd also spoken to the representatives of the Nepali embassy in Bangladesh, who said that they've been in constant communication with the Nepali students who are pursuing their academics in Bangladesh. We have more news coming up, but right now it is time for yet another short break. It's now time for the sports news.
Sports news.
Summer Olympics is set to begin in Paris, France from July 26. Athletes selected for the Olympics are busy making final preparations. Shuttler Prince Dahal, who has been given the opportunity to compete at the Olympics through wildcard, has been preparing at a court in Basundhara. Nepali star shuttler Prince Dahal had the opportunity of being trained while he was at grade 4 in Nepal Police School of Sangha. Back then, Dahal, a left-handed shuttler, used to watch the videos of Chinese shuttler Lin Dan, who also was a left-handed shuttler. Dahal began winning district-level tournaments from his early school days. Fame started to come his way when Dahal won gold in the junior category of the Under-19 Krishna Mohan Memorial Badminton Tournament while he was in grade 7. He then won 3 successive editions of Pushpalal National Badminton Championship. His achievements have been notable in the international junior tournaments as well. Having won medals at home and abroad, including in the United Arab Emirates, Indonesia, India and Thailand among others, Dahal was also ranked the world #1 in the juniors category. However, he has not been able to progress above quarterfinal rounds in the senior tournaments. Now that he has received a wildcard for participation at the Paris Olympics, Dahal had trained under Indonesian coach in Sri Lanka for 40 days and is now training in Nepal ahead of the mega sporting festival. He aims to perform well at the Olympics and win a medal for the country. Short preparations are not adequate for the Olympics. Athletes train for at least 2 to 3 years to compete at the mega event. However, Nepali athletes do not receive such intense and dedicated opportunities as there are no academies with proper footing, accommodation and training facilities. Therefore, if the nation is to hope for medals at the Olympics, it is imperative for the government to ensure well-facilitated infrastructures for the development of athletes. Kantipur Television and Hamro Khelkud have reached an agreement for the broadcast of the Kava Women's Nations League, slated to be held at the coverall of the National Sports Council in Tripureshwar from 1st of August to 7th of August. Based on the agreement, Kantipur Television is to broadcast the tournament live on its Max channel and application, while Hamro Khelkud will broadcast the tournament through its digital platforms. Kantipur Television Chief Executive Officer Shishir Pachai and Hamro Khelkud editor Prakash Timelsina signed the agreement. Prior to this, Hamro Khelkud had signed the broadcasting agreement with the Nepal Volleyball Association. The tournament will be participated by Iran, India, Sri Lanka and the Maldives alongside hosts Nepal. Team Nepal, led by Aruna Shahi, include experienced players in Saraswati Chaudhary, Salina Shrestha, Sophia Pun, Niruta Thogunna, Sangam Mahato, Punam Chand, Kamna Besta and Usha Bhandari. Libero Shanti Kala Thamang, middle blocker Kavita Bhatta and setter Pragati Nath have also been included alongside maiden inclusion in the national team for middle blocker Sumitra Regmi and spiker Arathi Subedi. The star spiker Pratibha Mali has not been selected for the tournament as she is yet to recover from her injury. Jagdish Vatta is coaching the team with the support of Bharat Yadav and Rupesh Besta. Neelam Bajracharya is the team manager. That is all for the moment. Up next is the news in Nepali. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye for now.